Out on my favorite trail, Smiley Road, here in the Gunks. Out for a quick up and back run, only about 4 miles, but it's a pretty good uphill. It's just up and back. There's a old car that didn't make it, a truck. It didn't make it on Smiley Road, probably from the 60s, maybe early 70s. You could ride this road from Ellenville to Lake Awasting, which would then take you up to Mohonk Mountain House years ago. But you haven't been able to do it for like 40 years. This road hasn't really been drivable, and still, it wasn't drivable back then, thus. There's a couple cars like that along the way that just didn't make it. Speaking of didn't make it, what do you think of, it's an interesting question to weigh in on. Gym teachers. What's your opinion on gym teachers that aren't fit and active? I had this conversation with my kids and some of their friends the other day. So, as a parent, as a student, just looking on as an observer, should gym teachers be active and fit? Should they be able to do the stuff that they're demanding of the kids? Should they be setting a good example as far as dietary choices, and especially as far as levels of activity? My kids think it's very important, and so do all their friends. So, of course, it is important, but can we actually force teachers, phys ed teachers, to be active? Is there a way to monitor? Is there a way to test them? Is there a way to grade gym teachers and say, hey, you guys, if you're teaching physical fitness, you guys have to be physically fit as well? Let's face it, obesity is an epidemic. It is an epidemic in the US and it's spreading all over the world. And, in a class like gym, physical education, how important is it for the teacher? So here's the question. How important is it for the teachers to be physically active, to appear physically active, to look slim and fit, and to also be able to get out there and run track with the kids and do things and catch up with the kids? So how important is it? If it is important, can we actually force or encourage, or how can we monitor gym teachers to make sure that they are testing? Is there going to be state testing for gym teachers? Is that a good idea to make sure they're physically fit? What happens if a gym teacher all of a sudden becomes disabled? How about if they have a thyroid problem and they can't lose weight? How about if they broke their ankle because they were active, and because they haven't been able to work out, they start gaining weight? So there's a lot of different scenarios that play part in this. And I know I'm not really sure how to answer all those questions. I personally think it's important for a gym teacher to be fit and active and lead as a good example, right? I totally think that's super important. But after that, how do we enforce it? What are the benchmarks? Would a fit ed teacher lose his or her job because they became inactive, maybe because they did break an ankle and they weren't able to work out? Would they lose their job? Would they be assigned a different duty? I don't know. These are all good questions to weigh in on. So again, let me hear your thoughts and opinions, and it'll be an interesting conversation on how this will go. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano, and I'm going to get back to my run here in the Gunks.